What's going on YouTube? CloverBells here, back with another Series 12 team building video, and today we're looking at something that has been requested for a while. We're looking at Snorlax today for Series 12. So Snorlax has a very interesting niche in the meta, and to me, there's actually two ways that you can play this type of Snorlax, and I'm going to show you both builds. One of them is the greedy clover way, as we may all know already what that might mean. And then the second way is the more standard boring way of playing a Snorlax. What we mean is the greedy way is the belly drum set with redirection support, and then the other way is a non-Dynamax version of Snorlax, not non-Dynamax, I should say non-G-Max version with the Yawn and a Curse supporting set. So I think there's two types of teams, or at least with Snorlax, there's two types of ways that you can use it, and those are the two types of ways. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna build two teams that showcase both of them, and I think for starters we'll just go with the standard way first, and then we'll show you the greedy clover way. Okay, so how are we gonna do this? So with me, with Snorlax, again, this will be the Yawn and Curse set with the leftovers. Okay, and the whole idea with Snorlax, right? It gets this ability called Thick Fat, and basically what Thick Fat allows Snorlax to do is, resist those fire and ice type attacks, and they get halved, right? So when you have like Calyrex Ice Rider stuff, or like Incineroar stuff, or the Sun Team stuff, and they're going for those big hitting, fire moves and ice moves, Glacial Lance or whatever shenanigans they want to go for. Snorlax says, you know what, I'm just gonna cut that in half and like kind of just brush it off, and then recover it over time with like leftovers. And then Yawn pressure is really good. Similar to like how Gashonon just clicks Yawn and doesn't really click anything else, because that's how people want to play it. And then this is the more interesting move, right? Curse, right? Because what Curse does with Snorlax, it now allows you to outspeed certain threats in Trick Room while also gaining a +1 attack boost and a +1 defense boost. That's kind of good. That's like bulk up, but like better for Trick Room in a way. So I kind of like that set. And then you'll have two attacking moves here, which we'll go over in a bit. But how are we going to build the rest of the team? So I think for me, the restricted duo that we want here is Zacian and Calyrex Shadow Rider, right? What we're doing is we're playing a more balanced but aggressive team. But really, the Snorlax is just here for support against certain types of matchups. You're not going to be able to bring the Snorlax in every game, right? It's there if we need it, but most of the team will be carried by the 4 or 5 options that we'll have here. So of course this duo is really good right now. It's just the two most fastest oppressive mons not named Regieleki on one team, right? So Zacian's really good against like the Ice Rider stuff. I don't really need to explain what Zacian does. Neither do I need to explain what Calyrex. We know what this does at this point in the meta. You get one strong physical attacker, one strong special attacker. Okay, let's move on. So from here, I think Regieleki makes sense as a support mon here. Regieleki always likes to click Electro Web and chip things down and make them slower, so this way Zacian and Calyrex can outspeed them, especially after opponents go for like Airstream boost. Regieleki can change that and slow things down. Now from here, I think Incineroar makes a lot of sense, especially against Trick Room stuff, right? Because what you can do with Incineroar is bait out the Dynamax from the Calyrex Ice Rider and drop it in terms of its attack stat. You can drop Zacians, intimidate them, bring them to neutral, parting shot, fake out. We know what Incineroar does. Really good at slowing the game down and weakening the opponent. And then from here, we need one like more good Dynamax option, that doesn't rely on the Snorlax here. And I think for me, anytime I have a Zacian or a Calyrex team, I always like to have G-Max Blastoise, right? That's just the way I like to play it, just because, Calyrex really likes, those Sun teams, because you have Venusaur or Charizard to deal damage over time, weaken them, and then this way your Astro Barrage hits like a truck, and then you can just clean up and sweep teams. But you don't really have that option with the in terms of the Zard or the Venusaur, but we do have it with the Blastoise, so we can pretty much just chip things down and then in the back we'll bring in, you know, like Aleki, Zacian, and Calyrex, or sometimes even Incineroar, and then you just clean up from the back if you don't bring the Snorlax, right? So this is the 6 that I want to run. So now we'll just go ahead and start building around this 6 with the EVs, the items, and the movesets. Alright, so before we begin doing the EVs, items, and movesets, let's go ahead and reveal the GIFs. Calyrex Shadow Rider, Incineroar, Regieleki, Blastoise, and of course Zacian, right? Okay, so again, this is the first version that we're doing. This is the non-greedy belly drum set. This is a standard supporting non-G max Snorlax. So from here, what do we want to do? We want to have max strike, aka max normal, and there's a couple options. I still like not Giga Impact, the more consistent one, double edge, right? So double edge will always hit. You take a little bit of recoil, but that's okay, but it's still very, very strong. This is what we want here. Now, the last move here, I think it's between 2 moves. I think you can do between high horsepower or Darkest Lariat, and there's merits and benefits to both, and I'll let you choose as the viewer / player. If you want Darkest Lariat, of course this is gonna ignore, you know, those defense boosts. We know what that does because, you know, Incineroar gets access to that too. But the main thing is with the max darkness play when you Dynamax this, right? So when you max Dynamax, when you max darkness, you drop special defenses, and then, you know, Calyrex and Regieleki can come in the back and start doing extra damage. So there's the benefit there, and you also can, you know, hit other Calyrex Shadow Riders, other Lunalas, for that matter. So, you know, even like Solgaleo to a degree, but that is the main benefit for Darkest Lariat. So it's a good one. But if you have high horsepower, more benefit as well. You know, you can hit Zacians now for super effective damage, going for the Oko. You can hit Incineroars going for the Oko. You know, just other things that don't want to take max ground. All right, you know, same thing like Dialga, for example. And it's also another merit move that you can also consider. I'll leave it as high horsepower for now, but again, if you like Darkest Lariat on a team like this, definitely go for the Darkest Lariat, aka max darkness kind of play. And of course, again, the Yawn Pressure, we know what it does, and the Curse, when we click this, we can then outspeed, you know, other Calyrex Ice Riders and Amoonguss for that matter in Trick Room when we get the curse up. But Zacian, pretty standard set that we're going to go for here. Behemoth Blade, Play Rough, of course, and then Sacred Sword, and then Protect, right? You need the fairy move for annoying Palkias, annoying Yveltals. You got to get it. Same thing with Sacred Sword when you want to kill those Incineroars, or, you know, deal big chip damage to Solgaleo or Dialga passing through. You know, just like having a super effective move is really, really nice. And the fact that you can ignore those Steel Spike boosts is really, really helpful. All right, Calyrex Shadow Rider. This is the thing so there's 2 ways you can do this, right? Either you put the Focus Sash on the Calyrex, and then you put the Life Orb on the Aleki. All right, I think that works. Or in this case, you put the Life Orb, not in this case, but you put the Life Orb on the Calyrex and the Focus Sash on the Aleki. All right, and it depends on how you want to play this team. But I think both items are very merit warning. Okay, so but for here, we're just gonna put Focus Sash on this, and then the Life Orb on the Regieleki, right? Because this will be our more Dynamax standard option. But if you want to surprise the opponent, flip the items and see how they react. All right, Astral Barrage is the key. All right, and then from here, you want just like Protect, and then, you know, your other stab moves like Will-O-Wisp and Psyshock. Yep, there we are, and then there's the Protect. So Will-O-Wisp really good against Groudon's, really good against opposing Zacians, really good even against the other Calyrex Rider. So generally a very nice supporting move, especially with the Focus Sash here. Regieleki, this is your other Dynamax option besides the Blastoise, or maybe even like besides the Calyrex or Snorlax. So we know what Electro Web does, we know what Thunderbolt does. Now you can argue for something like Rising Voltage in the Thunderbolt slot. So this way, you know, when the max is done and the electric terrain is there, you have a Regieleki that does a lot of damage, right? But if you want something just a little bit more consistent, and if you're not maxing the Aleki, you're gonna go Thunderbolt, and then just Hyper Beam. You know, just have something click against like opposing Groudons or Landorses if the situation ever comes up. You know, you don't want to be completely useless against those ground types. You want to have at least one move that you can click that maybe could KO. So that's that. And then you also get max strike, right? Speed control. That's what we want. Incineroar. So standard set here. Flare Blitz, of course. Fake Out, Parting Shot, and Throat Chop. Okay, now with the Incineroar, I think there's a couple good items right now. I think the two that are in the lead is the Goggles. So if you're afraid of Amoonguss or Venusaur Sleep Powder shenanigans, definitely consider Safety Goggles. Or if you just care about intimidating Groudon and Landorus or Zacian, not really those two, but like Zacian, Landorus or Groudon, then the Custap Berry is for you, because then you can take that one very important ground type attack and live to tell the tale. All right. And then from here, Blastoise really good at dealing early damage on, but then these four guys, these other three can just come in the back and finish the job. I've seen Mystic Water Blastoise, just for like extra damage output. I think it's fine. I've also seen something like Assault Vest or Wakan Berry. I think those are also pretty good items. And I think we're just going to go with the Wakan Berry here for our purposes, right? Because Regieleki, Thundurus, and Zapdos, they're a thing. And I don't want to just get nuked by them, at least on turn 1. Okay, Hydro Cannon. That's Hyper Beam. Okay, Hydro Cannon, there we are. All right, now you have the option for Icy Wind or Ice Beam. I'm going to go with Icy Wind. Like, I don't care what anyone says. Like, the thing is, you want Blastoise to have some utility outside of Max. So, like, Icy Wind speed control, right? And there are some players that use this, and I love it when they use Icy Wind Blastoise because it's bulky, it's a nice support. You can click it, you get the speed control. Calyrex and Zacian outspeed things. We're in a business. Of course, you want Yawn. So now you have two Yawners, like with Blastoise and Snorlax, so it's kind of cool, but of course not really. I don't think both would want to come to a battle. It's very rare that they would. And then Blastoise with the helping hand over here. So like you can make Calyrex, Regieleki, or Zacian do extra damage. Like these are the three homies right here. Zacian, Calyrex, and Regieleki. They're the ones that's going to be pulling the weight of this team. Snorlax is just there to yawn and support. Same thing with Blastoise. Take those hits and just brush them off and be okay. While these three figure out a way to finish the job against the other team. Okay, so we got the moves, we got the items. Now let's talk about EVs. So we're gonna use my Series 9 spread, which I think is still relevant even now. And what that was is we just need our first bump in the in the attack nature stat, and then we just want like pretty much all defense and whatever we have left optimized into HP. We don't really need speed, right? We don't need special attack and not really special defense either, especially if we have like high horsepower and stuff. So, and again with Curse, you don't need so much attack investment, right? So we're just gonna go like, I think Adamant is fine. Okay, Adamant is fine. And then from here, because when you click Curse, we'll talk about IVs in a second, but let's go to the first bump in the attacking stat, right? 154. Notice how you went from 152 to 154. This is what we call that EV benchmark or EV bumps. If you don't know what EV bumps are, you gotta comment in the video below. If you're trying to play competitive Pokemon, ask what EV bumps are. I will link my video where I explain what that is if you reply with that comment. So this way, I don't have to keep typing that same answer over and over and over again. It's annoying. I stopped doing that. From here, look, honestly, just max out the defense, right? It just doesn't make a big difference. Like, we need all the bulk we can get on the Snorlax. That's a lot of HP, but we don't really need to max that out. 258 is okay. This is what we want in terms of what we're trying to do with our Snorlax. I'm just trying to do some quick calcs here. What if I just did it like this? Yeah, even better like this. Okay. What if we just did, we see even this, that you can drop it by 2 points, and then now you have some SPDF left over. But if again, this is you're just wasting some EVs here. But honestly, you can just put it all in HP. It's still fine. I was just trying to like, wait, is this like optimal leftovers recovery? It oversteps it just a little bit, but it's okay. I mean, this is still a relatively standard Snorlax spread. Now, the one thing I will say is we want to drop the speed just a little bit, and I'll leave it up to you in terms of where you want to leave it. But if you drop it to something like 48 in terms of the IVs, right? Why do you even want to do this? Because the thing is, remember Calyrex Ice Rider, okay? Calyrex Ice Rider, if we want to underspeed it, like let's pull up two mons that we want to underspeed / speed creep. Okay, there's the Calyrex Ice Rider. Okay, that's level 50. Okay, and there's the Amoonguss, right? And here's what you have to think about in terms of the speed tiers, right? And again, this is all like team building things you have to consider when you're doing this. Okay, let's go Brave. And the Amoonguss, it doesn't really matter as long as we have a reducing nature in terms of speed. Let's do it like this. Okay, so what we want to do is, you see Calyrex is at 49, right? If we get Snorlax to 48, then we outspeed it in Trick Room, which is why I was going for this, right? Where I dropped it to 48 like this with the Ivies, right? Because now with Curse in Trick Room, you outspeed it and everything is perfecto, right? But then you also have to consider maybe the Amoonguss, right? 31 speed. Well, if you go here with the Snorlax, if you do 48 divided by 1.5, which is, you know, after the curse, you get 32. Okay, so what that means is now with 32, you are still not faster than Amoonguss in Trick Room, but you outspeed the Amoonguss outside of Trick Room. So if you're fine with that, then you leave Snorlax at 48 in terms of the speed stat. But if you still want to outspeed Amoonguss also in Trick Room, along with the Calyrex, then you have to drop this a little bit more. Drop it to 46 like this. Okay, so now after Curse, if you do the math, right, what's 46 divided by 1.5? Again, 30.667, which rounds down to 30. Now you underspeed the Amoonguss, aka now you're faster than the Amoonguss in Trick Room, right? You see how the math works? This is all about team building fundamentals. So if you want to do it like that, you put it to 46. Otherwise, if you want to just outspeed the Amoonguss when the Trick Room is over, then you just go to 48, right? But I'll leave it at 46 for now. Anyway, so Zacian, main thing I want with Zacian, I just want to hit really hard and still be fast. And I'm still going to keep using that same Zacian spread we've been using since like Series 8. Okay, which is to outspeed a Regieleki after a +1 or a -1 from their Electro or Icy Wind, right? Or Max Strike, that kind of thing. So I only need 185 for that, but I want to speed creep those speed creepers, so I go to 187, right? Then I just want to hit the second EV bump nature in the attacking stat. That's going to be at 156 investment right over here. But again, because you have the Rusted Sword boost, which is a multiplier of 1.5, I should say Intrepid boost rather, one stage. This is going to come out to an odd number, and you always want an even number. So this way you get the best bang for your buck with the attack bonus from Intrepid Sword. Then from here, honestly, you just want a point in each of the two defensive bulking stacks and just dump the rest in HP. This has always been our bulky adamant Zacian spread that can outspeed a Regieleki after a +1/-1. Calyrex, you are Sash. You don't need anything special except for a 253/253 spread. Nothing else needs to be said about you. Regieleki, more or less the same idea, but a tiny little bit of optimization in terms of what we want the Eleki to do. I just want you to still be max speed. I mean, I don't want to lose the speed ties to Electro Webs, the ones that have Sash. I still want to be able to, you know, be okay and still deal like big damage. So honestly, just a tiny little bit of Life Orb optimization, but for the most part, almost all of this is getting dumped into special attack, right? Incineroar. So again, we're going with the careful Incineroar. I'm not setting up Trick Room here, so I can still be bulky. I don't need to be one of our fast Incineroars. Just got to be bulky. Just got to keep clicking parting shots and fake outs and cycling. And I'll be taking hits as I go, so I want to have, you know, pretty good bulk. So just a little bit of speed, not the whole lot. I think 28 speed is okay in terms of this Incineroar spread. Second EV bump with the careful nature, just 1 point in the attack. We don't need Incineroar to be attacking things. And then the rest just gets added into the HP and a little bit of defense just to be able to survive that Zacian close combat, which you'll see on Showdown Ladder a couple times now. After a -1 Intimidate drop, right? Because we don't want Zacian clicking close combat stuff. Alright, Blastoise here. So Blastoise, modest nature. We have to go modest. We need this thing to deal solid, okay damage in Dynamax. We don't have the Mystic Water, but not so important as long as I have that damage over time ticking. Okay, Where is the bump here? I believe it's at 143. There it is. 196 investment to 143 final stat. That's the bump here. Now, what I can do is also go for that magic speed tier number of 112. So this way, after 2 max strikes or 2 electro webs or 2 icy winds, I outspeed an opposing Calyrex Shadow Rider. But, you know, at the very least, +1, I can outspeed like stuff like Charizard, Zapdos, Entei, Gigas. These are all things that I can outspeed with the +1, or in other words, a -1. Okay, then from here, I just want to put some points into my bulk. 175 just to optimize the sand and hill chip that you'll take over time when you change the weather. And I still have 32 points to play with in terms of where I want these points to go. So I'm just going to go to 113. Oh, how did this happen? Wait a second. All right, I don't know what that was. But anyway, but we're back. But we still got 32 EVs to play with. All I really need after I optimize the HP, just dump the rest into like either special attack or your speed. So I want to just go 1 point faster than those Blastoise that are also 112, and the rest I can just dump into special attack like this, and it's totally fine. I did this. Oh, I think we're done. Oh yeah, we're done. Okay, so this is the first version of our support Snorlax team. So again, you know, in that Ice Rider matchup or in that Trick Room matchup, this is where you bring the Snorlax. Otherwise, you know, you're just leading like Blastoise / Alecki. You're dealing a lot of damage in the beginning, and then, you know, Calyrex and Zacian can just come in from the back and finish the game. Or Incineroar might be one of your compadres in your matches, and maybe you leave one of the restricteds behind, or maybe you leave Regieleki behind. I don't know if you want to do that. It depends on the game though. But yeah, this is a pretty cool team, I would say. Normally something like this would require like Grimmsnarl or maybe even the Rillaboom. But hey, we got Snorlax on the channel. So now let's look at the my more preferred build, my more fun build. Let's go with the Greedy Clover Tech Belly Drum and see how that team looks. Okay, so now we are bringing back 4 of the same mods, but again, this time the Snorlax is G-Max. Okay, and it is a belly drum set. Now, I do need redirection to help set this up, and I can't think of a better partner for Snorlax and Calyrex Shadow Rider than, drumroll please, it will be the Indeedee female. Okay, so let's go ahead and put that here. So, Indeedee female, good synergy. You know, follow me, redirection, set up that belly drum. You know, you can't click fake out. Really, really nice. Good synergy with Calyrex Shadow Rider as well. You click helping hand, double expanding force if you want to go for that. But you get the psychic terrain and you give a boosted psychic stab move in Side Shock. So really good synergy there. And then from here, the last mod we have, we lost the Blastoise, right? We can technically keep the Blastoise and go for like you know, a Shell Smash set. Like if you go like Blastoise again, okay, and then you go Shell Smash. No wait. What's that item? White Herb. Yeah, you go White Herb and then Shell Smash, right? You know, you have the Indeedee next to you. The Blastoise all of a sudden puts on a lot of pressure, especially if you have stuff like Water Spout, which is something I did in Series 11. You get the speed boost, you have a fast Water Spout. It's kind of funny. But we're not going to go Blastoise this time. We want to be a little bit more aggressive with a physical Dynamax option. I think Defiant Thundurus is the play, in all honesty. Not Prankster, but Defiant. Life Orb. Okay, and again, there's no Alecki here, so the Life Orb was up for grabs, so we gave it to the Thundurus. Now, again, you know, you want to intimidate Snorlax, you want to intimidate Calyrex and Zacian. Well, not intimidate Calyrex, but like put pressure on with a dark move. But then what if you just had Thundurus on the team and you can capitalize them bringing Incineroar? So that's the logic I have with this. But how are we going to do with Snorlax? So we're not going to be thick fat, we're going to be gluttony because we want a berry. And I'm still going with double edge and high horsepower. Now you can in fact go Darkest Area here, right? Because this is the one that is actually Dynamaxing. And the other one, it was high horsepower because, you know, you can Dynamax it, but you're not really Dynamaxing it. So I think high horsepower is just a little bit better. But Snorlax, after, you know, eating the berry from Belly Drum, thanks to Indeedee's redirection, becomes a really good Dynamax option afterwards, and then Calyrex and Zacian can just clean up from the back. Alright, so what do I want to do here? I want to go Custap. Alright, I want that priority move. I want to recover it over time by clicking G-Max Replenish. and that's exactly what I aim to do. Now, we're still going to go with the same EV spread here. I will go Brave, though. That's the main difference. That is bold. I will go Brave. Okay, same idea. There it is. And then 180 HP investment. Right, this was my leftover. Actually, the most of it went here in the physical defensive side. So this was my spread, and you still outspeed the Ice Rider with this, right? Because you're only 45 speed, even though you have no investment. So that's all you need. Indeedee, Psychic Seeds. Okay, you just want to be able to tank that Zacian Behemoth Blade. So we're gonna make you Bold Nature. But first, let's go ahead and put your moves here. Follow Me, Expanding Force, Helping Hand, and Protect. Okay, that is your moveset Indeedee. Now for your EVs, we're going Bold. We want to live that Zacian Behemoth Blade especially. And this is as close as I can get to it. And then from here, you just go 236. You optimize Sand and Hill Chip with this number. And then from here, you can put 20 in defense, which will give you the odd number. I think you should just max defense like this. Yeah, I think this is okay. Now, if you want, you can take one off here and then just put like 4 here, 4 here. You can do that if you want. I think I'll leave it like that. But this is the calc to help you live this Zacian Behemoth Blade. Thundurus, Life Orb, so Wild Charge, of course, and then Fly. Brick Break. Now, I thought about Brick Break or Dark Move here. Do I want to boost Zacian or Calyrex Shadow? I figured Shadow already has enough support with like Snorlax and Indeedee stuff. Let's give Zacian a homie. Let's give Zacian the Thundurus, right? As well as Incineroar. Okay, so how do we beat Thundurus? Or how do we want to EV Thundurus, I should say. So max speed, that's all we need. Jolly. And then from here, optimize the Life Orb chip. Always end in a 9. Why? Because, again, if you have Life Orb, you're losing 1/10 of your max HP per turn. And then, you know, before you know it, you're paying quite a sum, I would say, after taking paying for the entry like that. Anyway, 1 point of bulk here, 1 point of bulk here, and then beep. The rest just goes into attack, and that is all we need. So again, the whole point of this version is to, you know, be a Dynamax dominant Snorlax. That's all I have to say about it. The rest of the team is relatively standard / okay for what we want to accomplish on ladder. The one thing I will reveal now is instead of a Will-O-Wisp, because I have redirection support, hello, let's go Nasty Plot Calyrex Shadow Rider. It has begun. We have officially gotten the Nasty Plot Calyrex Shadow Rider Indeedee combination in full swing. And of course, you have some supporting characters like Thundurus, Zacian, and Incineroar. Okay, so let's go ahead and get this up. And I believe it is correct. Let's take a look. Snorlax has the G-Max move, is Brave. Indeedee, same idea. Calyrex, same idea. Zacian, same idea. Thundurus and Incineroar. Okay, and now that we have the pace for both teams, now let's see how they play in different battles. Again, one is a supportive Snorlax. The other one is a Gigantamax Snorlax with more aggressive moves. So let's see how they're able to play out, at least from our test accounts on Showdown. Alright, so let's take a look at a couple of practice games here. So this is going to be the Belly Drum Lax. So it looks like it's a Kyurem-White Sun team, which is kind of cool because, you know, it gets a little bit of a boost if you go with a Fusion Flare, but the Sun team does really well against Zacian, right? I don't know about this one in particular though, but that is the thought process over there. I don't know if you need the Umbreon here, but okay, so here we're gonna start the match here. So we go with actually Instant Thundurus just in case, because we want to apply pressure with the Airstream and also intimidate the Groudon if he does lead with it, and also be able to fake out the Venusaur if he does lead with it. But instead he goes a completely different route, and he goes with the Indeedee and the Kyurem, right? So this changes things a little bit. I should have thought more, but it's still okay. So basically all I need to do is just remove this Indeedee, and then Zacian can come in and clean up here, and then we have the Calyrex also in the back that can also finish the job against like something like a Groudon or whatever he has in the back. I do have to be aware that there is an Umbreon, but at the very least we must remove the Indeedee first. So what I actually do here is I actually decide to max the Incineroar here, which you're going to see here. I don't need the Thundurus as of this moment because he led this. I just need to remove the Indeedee. Okay, so there's the chip, and here's the Hailstorm. So goodbye Thundurus, that's okay. But I do remove the Indeedee because Calyrex can't really touch this, right? And Zacian can't touch the Kyurem if the Indeedee is still there, right? So that was the main goal here. And now we can bring in Zacian, and you know he has no Intimidate on the team. There's a Dusclops, but that doesn't matter because we have a Calyrex in the back. So I thought he would protect the Kyurem. He did not, and you know that he should have, because all he had to do was just set up Trick Room, and then his Kyurem would have been faster. But then he would have gave the speed control to my Incineroar in that regard. So I think we were fine either way. But there's the Trick Room, and now he has a Groudon. But again, that's still fine, because what we can do is protect our Zacian first. And again, our Incineroar outspeeds, and now we can just pretty much gang up on this Groudon here. I know he goes for the Precipice Blaze. It does hurt, but not a whole lot, because we have the Shuka Berry on the Incineroar. And now what I can do is I can switch out and go into my Calyrex Shadow. I do have a Focus Sash here, so I don't want to lose the Zacian just yet. I can neuter the Groudon because I'm faster. I can give him the Zacian now because I know I can live, but he actually goes for Swords Dance. But that's fine with me because I can still Intimidate with the Incineroar, bring him back to neutral. I have a Sash, so this is why I decide to attack with the Calyrex. Psyshock in the terrain does quite a bit of damage, and now all I have to do is just double protect and finish off the Groudon here, which is exactly what we do. And there is the P-Blaze, but of course doesn't do a whole lot. And now we just finished the job here with the Calyrex Astral Barrage, and there it is. There's the cleanup. So we didn't need Snorlax here, but you know, again, you don't need it, right? Because you have more than enough power with the Zacian Calyrex plus 1 filler, right? So let's take a look at another. All right, so this is a mirror, right? A Zacian and a Calyrex as well, almost like the one that we just made, pretty much, right? Except we have a Thundurus, but I'm talking about the other version with the Blastoise. But again, same idea. Now, this is a game where Snorlax can come in handy, right? Because, you know, we have an Indeedee for redirection, and we have a Snorlax, which is good against Calyrex. He does have a Zacian and a Incineroar, but that's okay, because we can always make him think twice with the Thundurus. But let's see if he cares about it. I go into Snorlax, I go Indeedee, and he actually just leads Calyrex, and he leads Blastoise. So again, you know, the Astral Barrage is not going to do much here, and if anything, this is as safe of a you know, belly drum as it gets. Okay, so he actually switches out into Incineroar. Okay, you know, that's still fine because we're going for the max attack here with our Snorlax, so this Intimidate won't really matter. And now what we can do is activate our Custap Berry, and I just choose to remove the Blastoise just to like remove a potential Dynamax option here, and he chooses not to Dynamax the Blastoise, which is very interesting. Again, Parting Shot, you know, not great. He goes into Zacian, and then he can go back into Incineroar if he chooses. And I have a sleeping Indeedee now, so not too great, but we at least removed the Snorlax, right? I mean the Blastoise. So I am going to lose the Snorlax next turn. I did guard just to try and prolong one turn. Maybe the Indeedee can wake up next turn. It did not. But again, this is still alright because now we have Zacian and now we have Calyrex. He has no fake out pressure, and this is pretty much a free Astral Barrage. But I try to put a little spin on this, and I go for the nasty plot because I have a Sash, and because I'm putting pressure on the Zacian. Does go for the Throat Chop. He will get me to Sash, but again, that's fine because again, the Astral Barrage takes out the Zacian, and the Sacred Sword is more than enough to remove the Incineroar here. And now he just has one Mon left, and it is the opposing Calyrex. And this is his last Dynamax option, but he chooses not to Dynamax. For what reason, I don't know. I felt like he could have won the game if he did, because, you know, he could have won a speed tie, but he gives me the Calyrex like this, and now all I have to do is just survive, which I do because I am a bulky Zacian, and he did not crit, fortunately for me. And I felt like a max would have just been bad, you know, because he doesn't get a double target there. So we squeezed that one out a little bit. You know, the sleep really hindered the redirection plan, but again, Snorlax did take out the main Dynamax threat, which was the Blastoise. So that's all I can really ask. Let's look at one more. Okay, so this one is the Curslax. Now, again, it could come in handy because I see there's a Bronzong and there's another Calyrex Shadow Rider, and there is an Indeedee once again, so that's going to get in the way of my Calyrex. He has a Kangaskhan there, so Calyrex is not that great at the moment looking here. But it's okay because there's a Bronzong, there's an opposing Calyrex, right? So ideally it's not too bad. So here's the Blastoise, here's the Incin. I can always intimidate and fake out whatever comes in. So he goes with a Lucky Calyrex. And I have no fear here in Dynamaxing the Blastoise because I have a Wakan Berry. Alright, and I can at least put pressure on this Regieleki here. Goes for Darkness, which is a good play, but you know, this Calyrex just doesn't do that much damage even with that special defense drop. And we do live with the Blastoise, and now we go with the Cannonade, and he actually just gives me the Calyrex. It's not even Sash, which is funny enough. So Aleki's guaranteed to die here. You know, as if I just max guard with the Blastoise, it'll just drop. But I decided to switch into Snorlax, give it up here, just to bait. He actually double targets the other slot, so my Blastoise pretty much had a free attack, but he read the protect. The Lucky goes down. You know, that was basically free damage into Zacian, but that's alright. Here's Incineroar. Now we can trap the Zacian with Intimidate Cycling. He goes with the Fake Out here, and he go for the Blastoise here. That's fine. Okay, more Cannonade Chip, and now we go with our Zacian, and now we have all the control in the world. He goes for Helping Hand, but again, not going to matter. And that was the wrong target. I felt like he should have just targeted my Zacian. But even if he did, then my Incineroar gets to kill his Zacian with the Flare Blitz, right? And then it would have been fine from there because, you know, we still had enough to deal with the Kangaskhan. But, yeah, so, you know, again, the team plays like any other Zacian Calyrex team. You just have a Snorlax that can come in handy against, like, the Ice and Sun teams, the Calyrex Trick Room teams, and the Sun teams, right? So those are just a few battles showcasing different types of games. But once again, let's take a look at the pace one last time and get you guys out of here. All right, so once again, here are the two teams. Again, this is a non-Gmax Snorlax with the Yawn and Curse support set, you know, designed to help in Trick Room. You know, you have standard stuff with Aleki, Calyrex, Zacian here, along with the Gmax Blastoise. Really, really nice solid core here. There's, of course, Incineroar. And then on the other team, you have a more greedy redirection setup with the Indeedee, along with Belly Drum, Custap, Snorlax. You also have Nasty Plot Calyrex plays with Indeedee as well. So if the opponent is willing to let you set that up, remember you have a Focus Sash, so you have a free Nasty Plot / Astral Barrage play if you decide to do it. And it's so much damage, and you know, then you can just bring in either the Thundurus or even your own Snorlax and then just go for Airstream or Max Strike plays, and then you get speed control, and then Zacian can just finish things off in the back, right? So two different teams, similar builds for some of them, but different mons. Let me know which version of Snorlax you like, or if you want to take a different approach with Snorlax. So hopefully this gives you guys a little bit of an idea of how to play Snorlax here, and you like the EV spreads that we came up here. And again, as a reminder, with the EV spreads, with the curse setup, again, that's just for outspeeding the Calyrex in Trick Room, because you underspeed it, aka makes you faster. And again, you have the option to also do that for the Amoonguss, or you can go 2 more IVs above it just so that you can outspeed it when Trick Room is over, but you still have the curse debuff, right? So up to you. I leave it you know, up to the viewer how they want to play it. And again, you don't have to go for high horsepower. I think Darkest Lariat is a totally fine option on this kind of team, because you can help Aleki and Calyrex do big damage, and same thing on this side here. You can help Calyrex do big damage here as well. So we'll be back with another Series 12 video. Until next time, guys, peace out and have a good one.